Cool.
All right, so check it out, everybody. It's been a long time coming, man. We've talked about it. We've pushed them. Everybody knows it, man. Rock Salt Radio Show. We're here. We're doing big shit. We finally got to the technological advances in the world, and now we're able to do video, which was really rough on us dumbass rednecks. But here we are, man. They Watch Us from the Moon, a band hailing out of Lawrence, Kansas. Now, collectively, this band probably has well over 100 years experience in the music business. Collectively, they've done everything from polka to fucking touring with God knows who and God knows where, and they've been all over the place. I'd like to introduce everybody to you right now. They Watch Us from the Moon, Lawrence, Kansas. What's going on, guys? One at a time. Introduce yourself to everybody.
What's up, man? I'm Zach.
I'm Shane. That was one at a time.
I'm Zach, if you didn't catch it. I don't know.
Shane, go
I'm
ahead.
Brad.
And then there's Shane in
Brad.
there
Shane.
somewhere. There you are. One
Probably
at a time.
lagging.
This is not an example of how in time their music is. Really, when they have instruments in their hands, I promise you, they're perfectly in time with each other.
Sometimes.
Most of the time. So
We try.
Most of the time.
They Watch Us from the Moon, and you guys can talk one at a time, or one person can take a segment and answer a question, or however you want to do it. They Watch Us
I'll
from
tell
the
you
Moon.
what, You
This
just flag a person per question, that'll make it easier on everybody.
I'll do it. I'll lead the thing. I feel important.
Perfect.
I feel important.
You are important.
Horse shit. So They Watch Us from the Moon is this thing started, and with all of the experience that I was not being funny when I said in this band there's well over 100 years of experience in the music business, from all facets of it. What things led up to this concept? Because I want people to understand the concept of this band before we start talking about the music and the impact of. Shane, go ahead.
Well, we started off as something else, and we slowly morphed into what became the sound you hear from us today. And we just weren't fitting the vibe of the name we had previously. And I kind of set it up in a weird way. I was like, hey, I put a bunch of names on a paper for maybe a album title idea. What do you guys think? And everybody that was in the band at that time hit up on the phrase They Watch Us from the Moon as their favorite. And I was like, we should make that our band name. And from there, that snowballed into the concepts of comic books and stage theatrics, and really offering a visual science fiction ride to the moon. Just kind of morphed into that. I don't, naturally, kind of almost.
And how did that?
Honestly, I was just gonna say our sound is really based on like a psychedelic spaceship moon ride. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. You know?
I mean, there's really, here's the thing. There's really no describing the sound because it's so different that there's just no way anybody could put words to it, except for, you're right. It's fucking trippy. It's heavy,
Yeah.
It's sludgy, it's got balls, it's got melody, it's got range, it's got all the attributes of a great song in every one of you guys' track. Zach, go ahead while you're on here and tell me, so the name comes about, and obviously there's an image now. How does that change the way that you guys and come together and write music? Because now you have an image that you almost have to center your music around.
It's kind of cool. When the concept of the comic book first started, Shane would come to practice and give us all kind of like, kind of backstories of each one of our characters. For me, that helped in you know, setting the mood for the writing, because I could kind of tell, you know, where my part needed to go, you know, via the character. So it made it kind of easy to write the stuff. It's cool.
Brad, weigh in, man. How did it affect the way that you approach the parts that you write and contribute to the songwriting process?
It's kind of a natural process for me because, you know, I'm kind of the weird one in the band, so I could do kind of the weird stuff, you know. So it was kind of a natural evolution. It allowed me to become very loud. This is the loudest band I've ever been in. That's saying an awful lot, and it's no disrespect to any other bands, but this is the loudest band. It is sheer volume. You know, the only way to define the band, I go beyond genre. I think They Watch Us from the Moon is the best way to describe this band. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't disagree. And I try so hard to, you know, as a radio guy and as a guy that has to put bands and music out there, I try really hard to come up with some sort of quick-witted shit to say, but there's just really not, like, I just so blown away by it. And it's a completely different feel and a completely different texture than anything that I've ever heard before, that I really can't make something up on the fly, and I don't want to do it a disservice by comparing it to something else that it doesn't deserve to be compared to. You know, I mean, it's truly art. Shane, you've been around for a long time. You've got a lot of roots in a lot of different genres of music, as well as Brad and Zach. But we'll talk about you for just a second. I mean, from punk rock to thrash to heavy metal to They Watch Us from the Moon. I got to say, man, I've been involved in a lot of projects that you've been in over the course of your career. And this particular project seems like it is the one that fits you the best. How do you feel about that statement, and can you elaborate a little?
It does. I mean, this kind of concept. I'm a sci-fi nerd. I'm just as happy at a Comic-Con as I am in a rehearsal hall, studio, or a stage. I've been immersed in that for years and years and years. And for me, this band is an expression of everything I love about that culture. I remember being a kid and just being gobsmacked by comic books and science fiction. And as I got older and began to expand my mind, that bled into wild and crazy conspiracy theories. And there is so much crazy balls, secret space force, aliens on the moon, conspiracy theories and conjecture out there. It would just blow your mind how much all that encompasses our collective logic. And that stuff just fascinates me. And this band for me is a sonic representation of everything that Comic-Con nerd culture represents. And I love it. This is just the first stage. We're going to launch theatrical performance. We're working on doing a movie in the future with this. This is just the beginning. You know, this is a long time coming for, I think, all of us as a collective creative force. You know, we're going to dump all we got into this.
And I believe that wholeheartedly. And Brad, you know, the same for you. I've known you for the better part of my life, and you know, inside and outside the music, and you know, you've been in a bunch of different collective genres of music with your guitar, and you know, same for you. You know, when I see you play with this band, it truly looks like you're at home on that stage with the people that you're playing, and you fit that character so well. Tell me about that for you, man. I mean, am I right in saying that, or are you just that good of a showman?
I can only act like myself. It's the only way I know how to behave. There is certainly A feeling of comfort, like a feeling of belonging once you hit the stage. Like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And, you know, I'm particularly missing that right now. Heck, we haven't even been in the same room together since all of this has all started. And I'm missing my boys. I'm missing our equipment. I'm missing the room going boom when we kick off one of our songs. You know what I mean? Because that is home for us. You know, it's unfortunate right now. And, you know, but I'm ready to get back to getting in that room and definitely getting on stage to get up for folks to be able to see us. But we definitely appreciate guys like you that keep it going in the meantime for us and
Damn
all these
sure.
around here.
We're damn sure trying, man. We're doing our part. Zach, it's your turn, man. So I don't have the experience working with you as I do the other two, but same thing. I mean, everybody the culmination of this band looks like it just fits. All the pieces to the puzzle fit. And I know there's been lineup changes. I know there's been bumps in the road, but that's just, it happens in a band. You guys have muddled through it. But how do you feel about it, man, compared to some of the other projects you've been in? Do you feel like this is the one? This is home. This is where I belong.
This is definitely this project has more legs than anything I've ever been a part of. You know, I back in the 90s, I was fortunate enough to be in one of the bands that played around with these guys, and you know, could draw a fair crowd. And man, I had so much fun back then, and since then I haven't really experienced anything close to it. And when this thing started up, Shane called me and he said, "Hey man, I want to do like a rock and roll thing, you know?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because I've always been in, like, you know, super heavy bands with, like, you know, really growly singers and stuff like that. It's fun to play, you know, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. This thing, it just kind of appeals to all walks of life, and it's fun as all hell to play. It's probably the most fun I've had in a band in 25 years. It's amazing.
The cool thing about that is I want everybody out there watching this to understand. Did you all notice the smiles on their faces when they're asked this question? I mean, they truly are doing what they love, and I will say, as a consumer, i.e. a listener, I have just as much fun listening to the music as you guys do playing it. That energy hits me on a different level than everybody else. And that's the greatest thing about you guys' music. And we'll start talking about that now. A good segue into that is the crossover potential that this band has. And like you touched on, Zach, it appeals to all ears. When you hear They Watch Us from the Moon, it's going to appease every walk of life in music, be it from jazz to the death metal, because it's got all of those attributes just ready to explode, and it keeps you wanting more. Tell me about that a little bit, because, you know, in radio, when I see a 7-minute song, I'm thinking, oh shit, this is going to be a 6-minute bridge like Metallica used to do, and nothing. But it's nothing like that, dude. The whole 7 minutes is like, it flies by, and I can't wait for the next track. So a full-length record for you guys will be probably 4 songs, and it'll be 2 hours long.
Right?
No, but the thing about it is Shane, and I know just for you personally, that's way different writing than what you're used to, because you come from primarily a background of 3 to 4 minute songs, and you got to cram all that in there. So it really does open up you guys' creativity, which you've surrounded yourself with the most creative musicians in the area to bring us They Watch Us from the Moon. Tell me about that a little bit, because the music, how do you guys mesh all of your influences together so seamlessly? Because it's something that a lot of bands and a lot of musicians can't do.
Well, I mean, right now I don't know. That's a crazy question, because our formula right now is I literally write sad cowboy songs on an acoustic guitar I have at my house, and then I take them to practice, and these guys turn them into doom metal. I don't know how that works, but every song that I've ever written for this band is written on a beater acoustic guitar, and it turns into what you hear. The process of that is layering. I come in with an idea, and really all the ideas that are mustering in my pea brain at this point musically, and the reason that a lot of these songs are so long is in my brain I have these pieced together in theatrical movements, scenes in a theatrical production or a movie, an anime, something of that nature. So a lot of the songs play into that idea that this is morphing into a much bigger project, and the sound is when we talk to producers, we always say cinematic, huge. We want the wall of sound should have never have left the conversation in rock and roll, and the sound to me is just that. It's a representation of these theatrical ideas that we're putting together, you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So basically what, and I'm trying to figure it out too, because I really want to have a moniker to tag to this band as far as air goes and as far as interview purposes go, and describing, because you know how it always is. When you put somebody on a new band, they're like, well, what do they sound like? Well, just listen, you know, just listen. It sounds like beautifully created art, but it's fair to say that this thing is kind of reminiscent of what an old school rock opera would be, where the songs are the storyline for the cinematics that are the stage performance.
Exactly.
So and we go back old school, and Brad will probably get a kick out of this when I say this, because I just pulled this off the top of my head. But do you remember Savatage did that whole moniker with a couple of their records? They did a rock opera, and it really went well. But a lot of that was because of the mindset of the band and the people that contributed to the writing. I mean, Olivier was a fucking genius, and so are all of you guys collectively. So if anybody can pull it off, it's going to be They Watch Us from the Moon. I kind of like that. It's kind of like a doom metal opera. What do you think about that, Brad? I mean, am I on the point at all, or?
I think so. I think it's a story. It's an epic. It's a story to be told. It's a masterpiece. You know, and really we're not that far from the classical operas. You know, we're not that far really from the Who, you know, or even Rocky Horror. Meatloaf, you know, talk about an opera album that came out that was just, and it still stands time today. Here we are over 40 years later, you know, on some of those records. 100 years when you go back to classic operas, I think that we do fit into that quite easily. And it's a continuing story also.
And the more that I dive into the doom metal genre, and I've learned a lot just from talking to you guys, working with you guys, and you know, interviewing some of the greats in the doom genre, you know, from Coven on up to They Watch Us from the Moon. You know, we had Wolfat, and we're working with Crowbot to try to get them in. So we're really delving into that. But damn, man, it's just, you guys' sound is going to propel this genre to a completely different level. And I think that's why it's impacting the charts so much. Is that fair to say? Because you guys, let's get into that. I don't want to get ahead. I don't want to confuse people. You guys put out some material. You got a new record out. Since the record's out, it's been getting some airplay, and you guys are actually on the doom metal charts, and that's documented. How does that feel, man? How does that feel for you guys as a whole? You know, I mean, it's got to be pretty cool, right?
It's insane. I've never had that happen in a band that I've been in, and it's amazing. It's awesome. And it's all thanks to people like you that have been, like, you know, sharing this all around and, you know, getting the word out. It's amazing.
Shane, what do you think, man? You've been around the block. I mean, did you have any doubt in your mind that this thing would hit the ground running like it is?
I had every confidence in the world this was going to happen. This is exactly what I set out to do.
I love it.
Work it every day.
I love it. Brad, what about you, man? You've been in a lot of different projects, man. How do you feel about the success that this band's found so far?
You take it. It's amazing. You don't expect it. I mean, it's kind of mind blowing. I had an afro before the record came out. It blew my mind that much. But it's humbling too. It's also great. You want that. I think we're all kind of like, well, I guess we were right. There's that kind of like, it's a validation. It's like, well, we must not be fucking up too bad. So it's an honor, but it's also kind of like yeah. Let's try and keep it up,
You're
You guys-
really catching on, man.
It really is. And I see it all over the place, which is really cool because, in the beginning of this, it went from, 4 or 5 people sharing They Watch Us from the Moon to, Doom chart groups and things like that, really getting behind it. And it's really cool for me to sit back and watch it all unfold, man. I'm really proud of you guys. I'm really proud of the new record. And let's talk about the new record for a minute, man. It's out. People can get it. Where can they get it? Introduce the record to people.
Right now it's available at Bandcamp. So you can go to theywatchusfromthemoon.bandcamp.com and pick it up. There's also other merch on there. Comic book is sold out here this week. I'm going to get the comic book available on PDF Dropbox kind of thing. So that'll be available again here soon in digital form. But yeah, right now we're just doing a digital release, and there's 2 versions. There's Moon Doom, and then there's Moon Doom, the full experience. And those are kind of dotted around in different places. And the full experience is only available on Bandcamp, and those include theatrical interludes that reveal more plot essence of future comic books. So that's where we're at right now. Soon to be, hopefully, when the apocalypse is over, we'll be able to get somewhere and get some CDs pressed, maybe some vinyl.
Vinyl would definitely go over well with this record. I see that would be almost a collector's item.
I appreciate that. I won't tell you I don't agree.
I mean, you think about it, where you could release however many different versions and have each version be a different character in the band and make them a collector's issue. And the thing about it is that you guys appease to that market, so people are they're gonna gravitate toward that, and it's gonna bring them closer to the band. You know what I mean? And Zach, what's your thoughts on that, man? I mean, you're a fucking comic book character, dude.
Yeah, that was that kind of blew my mind the first time I saw that. It's pretty rad, and in the world that I come from, I own a horror movie or a horror themed clothing line, so I hang out with a lot of like-minded people that are into this type of shit. And the second it started hitting that stuff, everybody was like, oh, holy shit, we gotta check this out. So it's pretty fucking cool.
I mean, it would be pretty cool. I mean, somehow I need to find my way into one of the comic books somehow, because I think it would be really cool to be a comic book character, even if I get killed off.
We can make it happen. We can make it happen.
I mean, I just want to be that guy with
now.
a microphone with like a dagger on the end of it or something.
There you go.
I don't know. I'm a dreamer, man.
Somehow.
I'm always thinking.
I actually got a pretty good idea. We'll slip you in there.
Shit. Here we go. They watch us
Yep.
from the moon, man. If you're still, listen, realistically speaking, I could talk to this band for 3 or 4 hours, and you guys, I still don't feel like we would do it enough justice. The one thing that I can tell you about this band is we can interview all day long. We can play the music all day long, but you have to see this band live. You just have to. And if you catch a live recording on YouTube or something like that, you're going to get a taste. But if you ever see They Watch Us from the Moon in a town that you're in, get your ass to that show. And I will say this right here on this interview, and this is where this is going to stay. You go to that show, you pay the cover to get in, and if you can honestly tell me at the end of that show that you didn't fucking like it, I'll refund your fucking money. Go see them. That's how confident I am that you're going to like this band and that you're going to leave there with a CD. I promise
That's
you.
awesome. That's pretty rad,
Awesome.
man.
It's cool to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Now watch.
Thanks. That's honored. Honored.
Now,
Thank you.
But you can't you can't lie about it though either. You know, you have to give me a good reason why you didn't like the show. Don't tell me because the toilet stunk in the fucking venue you were at, because that's not a valid reason. Not a valid reason. What else you guys got, man?
Well, things are kind of weird right now because of the whole pandemic apocalypse, but we are booked at Trauma Fest, August. What is that, Brad?
15th?
15th, yeah.
15th?
We'll be there. We're hosting that show, so we'll be there working with you
Awesome.
guys.
I think we're also at the pre-party the day before, but I think they're looking for a venue because the venue they were booked at was Davies, and that suffered a catastrophe.
A big hit, yeah. I mean, it might be something that we could maybe try to pull. I don't know. We'll talk off the interview about that.
Sure.
But yeah, the Trauma Fest, it will be in Iowa, Kansas at Timeout Tavern. It's a really cool deal. It's a real kind of small, intimate venue. The sound is killer in there. Cold beers and hot metal, man. I mean, it's going to be the place to be. It's an all-day event. I believe it's free. It's all ages, so get your ass out. This is a chance to come and see They Watch Us from the Moon, and I don't have to refund any of your money.
It's a profit deal.
Man, it's been great talking to you guys. And listen, I want to do this more with you guys, especially. I want to launch a series in honor of They Watch Us from the Moon, where every couple months we come on and just update everybody with what's going on with you guys and follow the journey, the story per se of what's happening with the band and the success that it's finding, because hitting the Doom charts with the record just coming out and things like that, this thing is going to grow to epic proportions very quickly. And it's something that I definitely want to keep in touch with you guys on and come on and do these videos. This interview will strictly be for YouTube only. So,
Awesome.
and we'll just make a series dedicated to you guys on our YouTube channel, like
Thank
following
you.
and documenting what you
That's
guys
awesome.
got going on. So plan on
Awesome.
that. Look forward to that. In the meantime, all of you guys go check out They Watch Us from the Moon. The link for the new song Creeper below. Go like that shit, listen to it. I can't put it on here because YouTube's kind of funny about that shit, but I can't put the link in there. So if you're watching this interview and you get tired of hearing me or anybody else, let the music do the talking. I mean, it's that easy. And you can always catch They Watch Us from the Moon in regular rotation at 106.6 The Blast, and a mainstay on Rock Assault Radio Show that we will always play that song. So
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
it's not a problem, man. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day to come on and do this. And like I said, man, let's make this part one of an ongoing series, kind of an
Thank you.
introduction.
That's
We'd
awesome.
love to.
Sounds great.
We'd love to. I just want to say too, man, the work that you're doing in the greater community for the rock and roll scene is simply outstanding. And we really appreciate all the attention you give us. It really means the world to us. Thank you very much.
Man, no problem. Thank you, Shane, for that. It's an honor to be able to work with so many and impact so many. And I don't really realize the spectrum of what we're doing until we go out and meet and greet people. You know what I mean? And we are
Yeah.
making an impact. And it's same goes for me, man. It's because of people like you and bands that are giving us great music to play and great content is the reason why we're so successful. You know what I mean? So you guys
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing too.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Really
man. That's
appreciate the
awesome.
opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Zach, I need some of your clothes, man.
Hell yeah.
Atomic
dude.
Cotton.
AtomicCotton.com.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I got traveling around at MC festivals, dude. I'll pimp the shit out of it.
Hell yeah.
Brad, what you got, man? You're over there just cheesing your ass off, man. I want you to tell the world bye too, brother.
I think the gummies are kicking in. I don't know. Just feeling great. I'm just honored to be here. With good to see my fellows again and talk to you guys.
Heck yeah,
Thank
man.
you so much for supporting the scene. You know, a lot of major tours are out this year, so it's going to be up to us locals to get out here and entertain this people, and also people like Will helping out everybody. Also, it's time for the
Now's
scene
the
to come
time.
alive. And I
Yeah,
want to be
man.
part of it.
I'm gonna Shane, since you're on here with me, I'm just gonna leak this at the end of this interview. I will tell you this: we talk about series and we talk about things that are gonna be epic. Shane Murray and myself are working on a project where we are going to do a series and we're going to exploit local music scenes and we're going to really address the issues that are there. We're going to dig deep. We're going to talk about shit that some people don't want to hear, but if you don't want to hear the fucking truth, you're listening to the wrong people. And so we're going to do what we can do to collectively fire music back up in your local area, wherever you're at. And Shane is a big activist on local fucking music. And there'll be more to that to come. We don't want to waste a day watching the moon time with that, but I'm going to go ahead and leak that, Shane, and you can vouch for that, or you can plead the fifth right now. But
Absolutely. I'm excited to do it. It needs to be done.
somebody's got to do something, right? And if it's got to be us, then so be it.
I'm good with it.
Man, I love you guys. Keep cranking out the
Love you
great
too.
music, and I'm
Thank
going to
you.
let you guys get back to your life, man.
Right on, man. Thank you very much for having
Thank you
us
very
on.
much, man.
Thanks again.
No problem.
Great talking to you.
Thank you guys, man. I love each and every one of you, man. They watch us from the moon. Everybody check them out. The links are below. Go to their website, buy some merch, support this band, man. Help them out because, you know, everybody needs some kind of money, even me, you know, but if I got $5 and they've got a t-shirt on sale, I'm going to buy it.
We appreciate that, man. Bandcamp. You can get everything at Bandcamp, or they watch us from the moon.com.
Peace,
Thank you
love,
very
and
much.
happiness, mofos.
Right on, man.
On 106.6 The Blast.
Yes, I love that station.
Me
Yeah,
too.
buddy.
Man, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.
All right, man.
Thank
Have fun.
Deuces.
Yep.
Peace.